idea coaches, Coach G Strong. Weighing in on the weight classes, episode 28. The preview to UFC 146, where we have Frank Mir challenging Junior Dos Santos for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. Okay, this main card has been flipped around due to injuries. However, the undercard looks outstanding. So please check it out. Here are the picks. Welterweight bout, Dan Hardy versus Duane Ludwig. It seems that Dan Hardy's career is knocking on heaven's door. Being 0-4 in his last 4 fights is damn near unheard of in the UFC while holding employment there. Losses to George St. Pierre and Anthony Rumble Johnson were predictable, but getting knocked out by Condit and Chris Lytle took the mojo away from Hardy, in the public eye at least. Dan is facing a fighter that always just kind of seems to be around. I'm talking about Duane "Bang" Ludwig. Bang is a fighter that's paid the price for his indecisiveness as to what weight class he wants to be at, whether it's welterweight or lightweight. Perhaps that has helped out his employment opportunities because as of late, he's usually there just to flesh out a card. This is truly the hardest fight to call. If this was 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said Dan Hardy hands down, but a lot has changed since that George St. Pierre fight. I'm going to have to go with Duane on this one because Dan's best weapon, his striking, is not what it used to be. Can he still beat Ludwig? Yeah, but he has to hope that Ludwig doesn't keep his hands up. There are just more ways for Dan to lose this fight compared to the number of ways Duane can lose this fight, statistically speaking. Lightweight bout, Jamie Varner versus Edson Barboza. In a fight that I'm afraid will be overlooked on this card, Edson Barboza will be facing former WEC lightweight champ Jamie Varner. The most unfortunate incident happened to Varner is that he got caught in the 3-fight losing streak right before the UFC absorbed the WEC. This fight is actually the return of Jamie on the big stage. Let me get to the point. Edson, while holding at the time of this video perhaps the knockout of the year against Terry Idom and being undefeated thus far, has had the luxury of having stylistically favorable matchups because the UFC fights that he has had so far has been to lesser strikers. On top of that, I don't think his combinations are that great. I feel that he's more of a one-shot kill striker that has yet to face a decent wrestler or ground tactician, which I predict will be his downfall once he gets past this fight. That said, Jamie was a great fighter in the time and environment of his reign. Today, people want to see Gilbert Melendez face Ben Henderson. No one wanted to see Jamie Varner face Sean Sherk or BJ Penn when they were champs. This new breed of fighter is too much for the once champ turned journeyman. Jamie simply does not have the tools in his box to break down Barboza. Middleweight bout, CB Dollaway versus Jason Mayhem Miller. It seems that the powers that be are more forgiving than I thought towards Jason Miller. He's actually getting to fight in the UFC again, even though he's coming off the worst performance of his career that was magnified by the fact that he didn't deserve the position that he was in with Michael Bisping in the first place. Now he faces CB Dollaway. A fighter, for better or worse, goes out on his shield. Dollaway is an excellent wrestler but lacks the standard to really move forward in his career. Combined with the fact that his submission game defense is lacking his entire time with Zuffa, makes this an intriguing matchup against Miller in his own mediocrity. This is a losable fight for Mayhem. I know that Jason has great transitional ground game along with positioning. His submission offense doesn't really match that, however. I'm on the fence about this fight. I think that CB's breakout fight opportunity came and went already. Jason by scrambling first round submission win or boring decision. UFC Heavyweight Championship bout. The challenger, Frank Mir, versus the champion, Junior Dos Santos. Given the disappointment that fans felt after JDS and Overeem was canceled due to the high levels of testosterone in the ring system, this fight pitting the champ against Frank Mir is quite possibly the best substitute we can have. After beating Dos Santos' mentor not once but twice in both unpredicted and brutal fashions, has the MMA world colored intrigued as how the young champ is going to contend with the ground game accolades of his opponent. Let me start off by saying that Frank Mir is one of, if not the only top-level fighter that has expanded his game on an elite level over the years. Many times viewers of a given sport are treated to seeing an aging athlete go hard in the gym when the cameras are rolling and talk about how they are better than ever, then just to have them look every minute of their age in the cage. Mir has actually improved his striking to a degree in which he's getting knockout finishes against fighters who most perceive to be a better striker than him. Outstriking Congo to get the submission, knocking out Crow Cop with a flying knee that was 10 times better in my brief description than in real life, and cracking the once iron chin of Nogueira, and to a lesser extent, nullifying the heavy hands of Roy Nelson. However, it can be noted that an asterisk can be put on most of those wins. Congo, rightfully fearing the submission game of Mir, allowed his hands to get too low. In the Crow Cop fight, well, Mir won that one, but no one walked out the winner. And though I doubt this affected the outcome due to the way the fight was played out, Big Nogueira was sick. And Roy Nelson's UFC career has been a disappointment overall. None of this is Frank Mir's fault. Similar to past opponents of George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, or the Prime Fedor, who most of their wins resulted in most of their opponents falling off of the face of the earth. But the fact is, although Mir has some great wins, JDS is just that much better. I understand that Dos Santos is primarily a boxer, but as I said before in his bout with Cain Velasquez, he has something that most strikers don't have in the heavyweight division, and that's a sense of rhythm and timing. Let me get something out of the way. The idea of an iron chin in the heavyweight division is damn near dead. Everyone that is at the cream of the crop has been knocked out except for the current champ, which is only a matter of time before that takes place due to the small gloves and heavy hands. Mir wants to take this fight to the ground where Dos Santos has not been tested, especially perhaps because he's probably the best heavyweight grappler today. This entire fight comes down to placement. It's easier for Junior to keep this fight standing than it is for Frank to take it to the ground. Mir's clinch game looked great against an overweight 205 on Roy Nelson, but legitimate heavyweights such as Brock Lesnar and Nogueira in their second fight before the submission has given him problems. Mir's muscle mass is more in tune with him benching more, but in terms of sheer strength, I doubt that there's a big difference between him and his opponent. Frank will have to contend with JDS's boxing to open him up for the takedown. Something that I just cannot see him doing to the point of execution that will result in a finish. I believe that this fight will last no more than 3 rounds, where there will be firefights which Junior Dos Santos will clip away and lower his challenger's confidence to ultimately win by knockout or technical knockout. Okay, so let me run down my picks. I have Edson Barboza, Jason Miller, and Dwayne Bang Ludwig winning in the undercard, and for the main event I have Junior Dos Santos retaining the belt. So here's the thing, I feel so bad going against Frank Mir, but it's just, he has a problem with placement of the fight. He can't really dictate where the fight is going to go, and having to stand up with Junior Dos Santos for a long period of time will ultimately lead to his downfall. I know everyone counts out Frank Mir, and I feel bad doing the same thing. I just don't see how he's going to win this particular fight. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you at We're on the Weight Classes episode 20B. Take care.